I'm Carol Odie. I'm one of your two state representatives in the far new north end. Um, I live in Ward 4, and so does Bob Hooper. Representative Bob Hooper could not be here today because unfortunately his mother-in-law just died this afternoon. Yeah. So, and I'm not sure that Representative Abby Duke is going to be able to make it today. She was at an NPA last night. She'll be at one tomorrow night. And she does have a conflict, but she might be able to stop in.
Can't hear anything.
Looks like Teresa's trying to talk to us.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi. Sorry. Something's going on with my audio on my computer. I'm so sorry. I can't see you all, but hi. I'm chiming in from home tonight, from the city, Teresa Vizina, from the mayor's office.
We only heard me once. All right. We're going to try this. Thanks for everyone's patience. Real time. For a minute or two. We're going to try again. That does sound good. Thank you for your quick work. Linda, take it away with our introductions.
My name is Linda. I live in Ward 4, and I use she, her pronouns. My name is Nina, Ward 4, she, her.
Wendy Rice, Ward 7, she, her.
Hi, my name's Alinea, and I don't use any pronouns.
Kendall, he, him, Ward 7.
My name is Al, he, him, Ward 7.
Monique Presley, not from around here, Bradford.
I'm Susan Ogden. I'm in Ward 4.
Monica Ivanchik, she, her pronouns, Ward 7, and I'm also your Ward 7 school commissioner.
And I'm not. I'm Hank Prensky from Ward 4.
Hi, I'm Andy Kenny from Ward 4, and I was Carol about positive news, and I was telling her that at the medical school, I found out last week that the researchers here at UVM were the first, or one of the very first, to develop the COVID vaccine, which then went on to be produced. And then in the paper a couple days ago, they just developed something for the dengue fever. And I just thought I should share that because that's such good news for our university research. That's it. Thank you.
I'm Bren, Ward 7, and she, her pronoun.
Martha Malthus, Ward 7, she, her pronouns.
Amy Bielowski Branch, she, her. I'm on the steering committee, Ward 4. Hi, Karen, excuse me, Ward 4, she, they.
Ray Ingram, Ward 7.
Lynn Eisenbray, Ward 7, she, her.
Alex Cabela in Ward 7.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, Ward 7, she, her pronouns.
I am Liz, she, her pronouns. I'm Ward 7.
I'm Mary Healy, Ward 7, she, her pronouns.
Hi there, Kieran, she, her pronouns, and Ward 4.
Hi, my name is Mark Peterson, Ward 4.
My name is Mike, Ward 7, he, him.
Mark Leopold, Ward 4.
Sarah Carpenter, she, her, Ward 4, and I'm also your city councilor from Ward 4.
Mark Barlow, Ward 4, and I'm the North District City Councilor.
And more of us on the steering committee in the back. I'm Annie Lawson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Ward 4, also on the steering committee.
And I'm Joanne Hunt on the steering committee, Ward 4, she, her.
We're good. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. And our next agenda item is our open forum. So thanks for that news that we did get during the introductions. Now there is sort of a more formal time to make any announcements. I see one hand in the back. Any upcoming events, things that you want to share with the neighborhood. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start back here. 6.
My announcement is that at our next NPA meeting, which will be at the end of January, and our 4th Wednesday of the month, back to our regular schedule, we would like people to bring non-perishable food items, cans and things, to go to the pantry over at Oddfellows. And you can just bring it in and drop it. We'll have a bucket or something for you to put it in.
Thanks, Jane. Susan?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you where you post the agenda.
Where we post the agenda?
Where do you post the agenda?
It's on the civic clerk site, which is the city website.
Okay.
It has all the NPA meeting agendas, the city council meeting agendas, any other city meetings. And then we also do try to post it on Front Porch Forum, which I think it was on this or last week it was posted. But yeah, it will be posted at least a week ahead of time.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. We had 2 people over here, and then Linda, and then Monica will go after that. Lynn?
This is a concern of mine that's come to my understanding. What's going on doesn't sound good. Some of you have probably seen my postings on Front Porch Forum. I work at the Ace Hardware. Some of you know that. And I've had customers coming in and talking about a rat problem. And I did not pursue, because it wasn't my place, to ask who their landlords were. But I did actually, in fact, ask them, is it your residence or is this an apartment? So I would love a discussion to go on and have people try to educate not only me, but other people, because I'm hearing different things. I got a lot of responses directly to me that people were commenting about people feeding birds. And I think that there's got to be more than that to a rat problem. So hopefully we'll get more discussion. I look forward to hearing from people, and I hope we can put it on the agenda because something's got to be done. I've seen enough on the news to see what happens to a lot of houses when they get inundated. And so if it becomes too bad, I don't want to see that happen here. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. And Amy? For a future agenda?
Hi, Amy Bielowski Branch again. You'll notice on the table, there are sticky notes and pens. And there's a question, if anyone has any suggestions about what we want to do at future NPA meetings, please write your note on the sticky note, put it up there. We did this a couple of months ago, and the results for October are also on the table. If you want to look at those, it might inspire you. And we'll use those ideas to generate different agendas for the NPA.
Thanks, Amy. You're going to be after Linda, and then you, and then Monica. All right?
My name is Linda. I'm here from the North End Food Pantry to thank everybody for all your generous donations and the food items that we've collected, and just to give you a few updates and talk about an upcoming event that's happening this Saturday. We had our clothing drive. We always have it on the last Sunday of the month, and we are now starting to weigh our clothing just to get an idea of what we are collecting and not putting into the landfill, because we are distributing that items. And we collected 1,850 pounds of clothing in about 2 hours. So thank you to the North End. It's amazing. And during this month, if you have boots or heavy coats or any of those items, and you would like to donate them and not wait till the last Sunday, we would take them on a Saturday or Sunday morning between 8 and 8:30. You can drop them off. So anything else, we'd like you to wait till the end of the month, but gear, heavy clothes, outerwear is something that we need. Coming up this Saturday from 12 to 3, Santa is coming to the Oddfellows, and so is a bake sale, and so is kids' crafts. I know Santa personally, and Mrs. Claus is coming with him. So this event is free or a donation. There is not a cost to get in. Santa is free to come get pictures. So if you know anybody who has a small child who wants a picture with Santa with a real beard, come from 12 to 3, and there will be crafts and things for the kids to do as well. So Saturday. So spread the word, and we have a bake sale too. So if you'd like to have some kind of hand-baked item, homemade item, it would be great to come and do that as well. What was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, I can't remember what I was going to say. I just blanked. But yes, so that event is going on. We are always looking for volunteers. Go to the website. You can sign up. It's northendfoodpantry.org. And Hank is our treasurer, so if you have any questions, you can ask Hank as well. And we would welcome any suggestions. We love to have people come and help. There's no, unlike some other pantries where they ask you to sign up to do the same, to commit every week, we don't do that. If you want to show up once a month, you want to show up once every couple months, we have enough of a base of volunteers that we can do that. So we'd love to have the help. We'd love to have you come and join us. And we are feeding about 140 to 150 people on a weekend.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Linda.
I have an issue, and can you, when you are done from your room or somewhere, can you please turn your light off so to save the polar bears?
Thank you for that. Monica, go ahead.
I just wanted to share that on Sunday, December 21st, the New North End Holiday Market is happening here at the Miller Center, in the gym. So for last minute gifts, or I believe they also are taking food donations, for the New North End Food Pantry. But it's a great community event right before Christmas.
Awesome. Do you have an announcement, Barbara? All right, we'll head over here.
I'm Barbara. I'm the NPA coordinator with the city of Burlington. I know Teresa Vizina was on the Zoom, but we couldn't really hear her. But what she's been trying to go to all the NPAs and get the word out about Overdose Prevention Center survey, community survey. It's closing on December 15th, and they really want to get a lot of people's input on that process. And it's like the first thing right now on the city webpage if you go there, and it takes like 5 minutes to complete.
Thank you for that. An announcement from Mark.
Hi, some of you may already know, but the city's now looking at developing a policy around unaccepted and private streets that the city has provided services for, in some cases, I think decades. And we've been having this discussion in the City Council Transportation, Energy, and Utilities Committee. We had a discussion last month. We're going to do it again this month with some new information we asked the staff to bring back, and that'll be on Tuesday, December 16th at 4 p.m. if anybody wants to attend or listen in, and I'll probably post something on Front Porch Forum as well. A number of these streets, actually a disproportionate number of these streets are in the New North End. So look forward to more information on that. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me.
It's not a done deal. There's a lot of work street by street to be done, and some folks have leaped to the assumption that the staff memo that the committee received is going to happen, and there's just a whole lot of work. It'll start with a committee and evolve, so don't leap to the conclusion.
Right, there's a lot of speculation right now, and there's no policy yet, so stay tuned.
Thanks for those. Yeah, I also wanted to jump in with a quick note because we are up here in the New North End. I go to work early in the morning and it's dark, and there's like 6 lights in a row that are out 7 South Ramp. I don't know if anyone else has like noticed this. So it's like a very dark patch. Since we have some city councilors here, I don't know who to like bring that to necessarily. I was like, see, I haven't done anything. So that's why I was like, somebody here knows. But that is what I will do. But I was like, I can't be the only one experiencing this. And so I bring it to the neighborhood. I'm gonna Google see, click, fix, and then it's gonna help me. Okay. Okay, yeah, we can talk more about it, but I just wanted to like bring it out, and so I'm not just thinking about it at like 5:30 and then forgetting about it. But we had one more hand for an announcement back there.
Yeah, my name's Al, and I just started volunteering with a local organization called the Vermont Afghan Alliance. And we are looking for a new executive director. So if you're looking for a position or know someone, which everyone knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, might be a good fit to lead a small nonprofit, Vermont Afghan Alliance, you can find it out. Or if you have any questions, you can see me afterwards.
Great, thanks, Al. Cool. I think we're coming to the end of our time of Front Porch Forum, but just wanted to one more chance if anybody has anything. Great. Thanks for all these topics and discussions and all these awesome events that are going on. And with that, I think we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is inviting Representative Monique Presley up to talk to us about big tech, how, as consumers, we can stay safe, kind of navigating the online world, which is ever changing. And I'm sure you've got some great input for us. And Carol has a little word to start.
Just thank you so much. Monique is from Bradford and she's all the way here today and she has to drive home at the end of this and she's getting up because she's got to catch a flight. She probably to where are you going tomorrow? Chicago. She's just 4 years in the legislature. This will be her fourth session. And she has become a national expert on data privacy. And which is so grateful that you were able to come here. She and her committee chair, who's a Republican, Mike Marcotte from the Northeast Kingdom, they have been working together on this issue now for a few years. And I'm always excited to hear what she has to say. And thank you again for coming.
Cool. Thanks, Carol. Thanks everybody for having me. Just full disclosure, so I've been traveling around the state with VPIRG doing this, the People versus Big Tech town halls. They're 90 minutes, usually with a group that's like a third to half this size. So I'm gonna try to like on the fly adjust this. But I'm also just hoping for, we'll have moments where I turn it over to you to engage and very much would love that if you would. Yeah, what am I doing here? So VPIRG and I have been, Vermont Public Interest Research Group and I have been traveling around the state of Vermont because
I don't know why see now this one's working.
I've been running, as Carol said, data privacy, artificial intelligence, kind of general consumer tech protection bills in the State House. And so Vermont Public Interest Research Group, consumer protection in all of the different ways is a pillar of what they do. So they've been joining me. Zach Tominelli has been joining me on the road. I'll go into it a little bit more detail, but basically we have legislation that is going through the State House trying to protect Vermonters with a data privacy bill and all kinds of bills. I think Carol could attest, and people who have been in the building for 40 years said that the amount of lobbying pressure that is coming in from outside the building against passing strong bills is the most that anybody has ever seen. Multi-millions of dollars. I'll just keep going a second. Multi-millions of dollars on each one of those bills and work. I'll try to, what if I like talk loud and lower this? Okay. As I've been kind of like doing this, I've been joining national task forces and working with legislators. In the back. I'm going to try to balance both of these. What's happening is with big tech and kind of like any of the data privacy protections and things like that, we are trying to regulate companies that are international. A lot of them are based in the United States, but then they reach internationally. So what's happening is in order to kind of like fight these bills, all of us in other states need to work together. And actually at this point, I've actually been starting to talk with other countries who are also facing the EU. I went to the EU embassy a couple of weeks ago, went to Germany a couple of weeks ago, and they're basically trying to figure out how to navigate the same exact issues we're facing, and every other state is trying to like do this as well. Just a little bit of background on me. So my whole career has been in tech. So starting from like when I was 8, my uncle showed me how to like take apart computers and build websites. In high school, the network administrator in sophomore year ended up giving me all the jobs that he didn't want to do, which I didn't know at the time. I just saw money and I was like, I'm in. But it ended up meaning that I was climbing a ladder all summer, installing Ethernet cables for the first like Ethernet network in our high school, and then installing all the computers in our classrooms. And then I was like tech support for all of the teachers and all the students that he didn't want to deal with, basically. But it was a great foundation for me to like be in that role. And then that led to, you know, internships doing like database design and management, and then ended up working in a series of different startups to help do front-end development of apps. And then I worked for a software company for 14 years doing everything. So doing front-end development, doing customer service for universities across the country and in Canada. So we had an educational technology platform that allowed people to register for classes that weren't normal kind of classes. So it was like workforce development, lifelong learning, like OLLI programs, youth programs. And then that also meant that in some cases, those programs need to carry over like 20 registration systems. And so be navigating and kind of all of these roles that I had across all of the years was really how my excitement of tech and my love of tech, but then trying to like translate really technical topics to people who weren't highly technical. And then at the same time, I was always volunteering for this, all of like municipal commissions. I've been on a bunch of them. And then I was on like 2 different dozen boards, mostly focusing community and economic development, both locally and then regionally and then statewide for things like Vermont Council of Rural Development. I ended up turning a retail store into a co-working space for the last like 10 years or so. And then at the time that our now Secretary of State, Sarah Copeland-Hansis, she was my rep. And so I was voluntold to run when she wanted to run. And so that's how I ended up in the State House. So bringing like a whole career of tech is very unique to the State House. And being a freshman, not knowing what to kind of latch onto, as soon as Commerce started dealing with digital bills, which I didn't realize we would do, which was nice. We started dealing with earned wage access, which is, I don't know if you realize, because it's not, as you travel around, like in Florida and things, you'll see signs for like payday loans everywhere. Vermont basically prohibits payday loans from existing the way that we regulate them. But we had a company come in that was basically the equivalent of like an app, like a digital app that allows you to do payday loans, more or less. And so when we had these companies come in and say, here's the bill we want you to regulate us with, I was like, what? That's something we just let companies hand us bills and we go along with whatever they say. And it was seeing that this bill was a digital version of an analog thing that we championed not having anymore was blowing my mind. And then the next bill that we had was the digital privacy, the comprehensive data privacy bill. And that bill, unfortunately, was a little bit, it was contradictory of itself. There was another bill we got from outside. And once we got to the end of that year, it was basically this moment where, you know, going into the building, a senator who I knew, his one piece of advice was, once you find the thing that you're passionate about, that you can kind of like have a niche around, like just own it. So my neurodivergent brain was like, I'm going to own all of consumer tech policy. And then so I just really dove in. And so that basically after that first year, we were going to just completely start over again. I'll go through some of these, but my chair at the time was basically like, do you guys want to copy Connecticut, Virginia, or California? And as a new person, just the copying of other states was like horrifying me. Now I totally get it. But so I kind of got the whole committee to say California. And then the chair was like, great, we're going to do Connecticut. And so I was horrified. And so, because I had started talking to like civil society, consumer advocates, and they were all like, Connecticut is the business model. And it's not the strongest consumer protection model, which I'll explain. But So basically, I reached out to Senator James Maroney, who was the senator who led that bill, and I said, I have to copy, like, we're going to copy your work. That makes me feel uncomfortable. I've heard your bill is not that strong. I want to know, like, what you did, who you talked to, what would you have changed? Do you like your bill? Are you going to keep changing your bill? That kind of stuff. And he ended up introducing me to just people all over the country, from industry, academia, from civil society, and then that kind of just snowballed. And I'm just running around all over the place talking to people constantly. So yeah. So with the like people versus big tech, which I am gonna jet out of here immediately to get up at 2 a.m. But I would love like peopleversusbigtech.com is our website. And if people want to engage after this, I definitely invite it. Would love to keep talking. But out of that, like there's lots of topics we could go down, but we are focused on digital privacy because that's what we're trying to like pass largely in the State House. But when I've been doing this work, there's actually a great documentary that was released finally this past week. Hey, Rep Hooper. It's called The Privacy People, and I actually put it on our website under the resources page. But they do this really cool exercise where they go on the streets of London and other cities, and they ask just random people, like, what is privacy? What does it mean to you? What do you think it is? What do you not think it is? And so that's usually like, I would love to do that exercise with anybody who would like to participate and just share. There's no wrong answer. And the answers from this exercise have been really helpful for me in each stop along the tour as we go across the state. It's really helpful when I try to talk to somebody who is either really engaged and doesn't understand, if people care, or people who just feel checked out. And it's a really good talking points for me. So, yeah.
So what is privacy?
What is privacy?
Anybody have any ideas? I think it's when the door is closed.
No, I just said we don't have it. I mean, that's
just more generally, I would say it's sharing only the information you want to share and not intentionally or unintentionally sharing the information you don't want to share.
Seems like you're in the toilet and you need to go potty.
Love it.
Going to be a little cynical. It means not reading the 14-page terms and conditions, deciding you really don't need that app, which means you can't use the benefits of it.
Yeah, no, I'll totally get into that. Don't worry, I have lots to say. Yeah, please.
But also the privacy is other people not sharing what you don't want shared. I think that's an important part of privacy.
Yeah. I hate this exercise because I never want it. When everybody looks at like wants me to talk, I'm always the one who's not looking at the speaker at all. Then I don't want to make eye contact with anybody. Carol, what do you think it is? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Well, I'd like no one to be able to see my texts, my emails, and so forth. Yeah. And I've been looking at, it's been showing up that if you have Google, and maybe you can debunk this, that they are maybe feeding in all your emails to AI, and then AI can answer you better than it might otherwise. I hope that's not true. And I don't know what to do about shutting it down so they can't read my Google account.
It seems like it's a question of autonomy and control, and then if you give it, it's a way to demonstrate respect.
a question of legal right to the things that you produce. So like, it may be data that you produce, but the idea that you actually have legal control over it, where right now we don't seem to.
I think our friend at the door hit the nail on the head. Privacy is control. You don't allow anybody to do anything that you don't want.
How do they make money if they don't see what I'm doing?
Anyone else? Okay, all right. So yeah, so all of that. Thank you very much. And I think also another piece that maybe didn't. So a few things that come up that typically come up is I'm not on Facebook, so I don't care. Nobody's tracking me. Or I don't have a cell phone, or it's too late, or that kind of stuff. And then another thing is like, and somebody actually told me, brought up a good point that this is like a culturally specific to us thing, and it varies throughout the world. But generally, as Alanea said, it starts like we start talking. See, like how old Kendall and Wendy do you think she was when you started talking about the bathroom as being like a private thing? Right? Yeah. Yeah, 2. So we're like, yeah, 1 to 2. So that is a conversation that we have with our kids like super early. And again, that like varies where you are in the world, but generally, like we have some kind of early sense that there are certain things that we just don't share with other people, or we hide from other people. But also just like think about the number of times, especially with what's going on right now, just think about the number of times where you had a certain like sexual identity or gender identity or job that you had or education background that you had or socioeconomic status or insert any type of piece of like who you are. But then think about like the number of times where you choose to share or not share it with different groups of people, different employers, different places you go to school, whether or not it's a public thing, whether or not it's a private thing, whether it's a family only thing, whether it's you don't share with anybody in the world and it is just in your head and it should stay there. So there's a whole like ranging thing, and in a lot of ways, like I'm going to go through a lot of examples of how that autonomy, as people said, and that power and that control is being taken away from us and also monetized. And so, yeah, so there's examples on the website, and I've been loading a lot of articles and videos and stuff about this. But the next thing I'm just going to do is like, why does this matter? Other than trying to like just have autonomy over and control over who you are and who has access to your stuff. So on the website, I think it's the 3rd video in. There's an example of this guy who's being interviewed, and he says, my car insurance doubled, a couple months ago. I reached out to my insurance company to ask why, and they wouldn't tell me. So then I hired a lawyer, and the lawyer said, go on to LexisNexis and download your free credit consumer report. Which, by the way, I tried to do in October. They still haven't given it to me, so I don't know if I'm blacklisted. But if anybody else wants to share their report with me, I would love one to like demonstrate because it's a big document. But so this guy went in and so all of these reports list thousands of data points on you. So it could be like, how likely is Monique to go to an urban environment in the next 6 months? What is Monique's, like, how much does she make? What does she, how likely is she to buy a yacht? Not very likely. How likely is she to such and such? But there's a piece of this that is driving history, driving behavior. So he went to that, and on that report, it showed that he had a near collision every single day. And so in the video, they have a video of him driving up to his house at night, like after work. And then a little cat comes out and and he slams on his brakes because the cat knows the sound of his car. We all have those cats and dogs that know when we're home and it's time to be fed. So that behavior of slamming on the brakes every single day doubled his car insurance because the car, there's like cameras all over the inside and the outside of the car monitoring everything you're doing and with audio and video. And then that gets basically sold to data brokers. And then insurance companies get that information often from data brokers, if not the car companies themselves. And so they're using that information. And then there's a whole, we can go into data brokers, there's more, but then actually somebody I was having coffee with this morning said he'd watched another video where a guy was doing an interview and he was in Colorado. He had his car insurance doubled all of a sudden 1 month because he lives at the bottom of a mountain basically and a really sharp driveway. And when he tries to get out of his driveway every day, he has to like really hammer on the gas to get out of his driveway. And so it was showing that he had a really unsafe acceleration pattern every single day. I was at one of these town halls and somebody said that I want to believe this is true. I'm going to take them and believe it's true, but they claim to live in a place where there was a lot of butterfly activity and they were slamming on their brakes for butterflies. I don't know, but like it could be. But then so the thing with the car, so some people might be like, I don't care if my car is tattling on me and my driving behavior. But often people care that their cars are tattling or we'll go into other examples, that their behavior in a thing is impacting other people, especially as we're thinking about things like ICE and immigration and all that kind of stuff. So there's cameras on the inside, but there's also cameras on the outside. And so there's been all these articles about like your car telling basically on other cars for speeding too fast or, that kind of stuff. So you may also be affecting the insurance rate of somebody else by your car telling on them, basically. I had another example of this for me, getting into a friend's car, a Subaru, and he is a cybersecurity professional. I just want to preface the story with that. And we were talking in the car, and his car kept on making a dinging noise, and there was I could see that there was an alert light. I'm like, Eric, what is that? And he looked, he's like, oh yeah, it's just telling me I need to keep my eyes on the road and stop talking to you. And I was like, how have you not turned that off yet? That is it is going to show up in his credit report for his car driving behavior that he doesn't, he's not watching the road. Another example is just, I don't know if people have seen the articles of, so there's all these Ring cameras, so people will say again, I'm not affected because I'm not on social media. But most of these examples I'm going through, it doesn't matter if you're on social media. So in my apartment complex, there are cameras outside every single window except for mine, often Ring cameras. And I don't know if people have been seeing, but Ring has been working, basically it's with flock cameras and then with ICE. And about, let's say in October, I think, they announced that, it used to be that they would just be kind of watching things, you get motion scans, but now they're actively scanning faces to identify people. And so that could be another thing where maybe it's not affecting you. Maybe you're not somebody who is a target, but me living in an apartment complex, who knows who is in that apartment complex, who actually is vulnerable to having facial recognition, scanning who they are. Different airlines have been coming out as having basically, so if you're thinking about, this is more or less price fixing, which again is an analog thing that we made illegal. It is illegal, but a digital version is sneaking through of, think about me needing to, say I have a funeral I have to get to on Saturday, and I've shared on social media that my aunt died or something. And then I go on to an airline website and I'm saying I need to it knows, because of all of this data broker activity, that I have a certain need to go to a certain place at a certain time, and mixed with other things, it could know my socioeconomic status, it could know how much time, it could know how many times I've visited that website and adjust the pricing accordingly to a higher price, knowing that I will pay almost anything to get to that funeral on Saturday. So I have been, through all the conversations that I've been having, basically just everywhere, and again, talking to everybody. So I've been talking to the biggest companies in the world at different events, and then I've been talking to many of their lawyers for the top 100 companies in the world, often. And so I just recently have, in this, I post on LinkedIn a lot, and I announce kind of to everybody that I'm doing this. So I just have people coming forward now to share stories. So I had the global chief data privacy officer of one of the largest financial transaction companies in the world who just retired. And I was like, I'm here to sign up for the war, basically. And so I gave him, he's like, what are my marching orders? And I was like, I need the 10 scariest examples of the requests that you got from companies of how they wanted to use transaction data. And so he's working on that. But in the meantime, he's like, well, I'm going to give you the scariest one that I can think of, like one of the scariest ones off the top of my head. So he goes, so we were asked to use we were asked to go into a contract to give financial so think about every single time your credit card is used, swiped, used online, like that is, this company has that. And so they were asked not only to share that information, but also to help build a system that would create an intelligence score. And so off the top of my head, I was like, okay, intelligence, that probably just means like data about you. Like everybody's doing that. We know that's happening. He's like, no. IQ score. So he's like basically taking all of these, and now I'm curious, and now I'm paranoid about all the things, but like I've been playing LinkedIn games lately because a friend asked me to, and I'm like, I wonder if LinkedIn is like tracking my IQ score on my speed that I'm solving these puzzles. But anyways, so he was saying basically like it wants to, so it's a store, it's Albertsons. So they wanted a system that would basically figure out when somebody buys something online, especially, but a lot of stores in the cities also have digital pricing in front of the products. So they're using information like around your IQ score to adjust the pricing to basically the point at which somebody is mentally not aware enough or doesn't have the cognitive capacity to realize they're being scammed. So how far can they push the pricing so somebody doesn't realize that the price is actually unreasonably high? Lyft and Uber, so any of the kind of the like ride sharing type of apps, like if I was with like Kendall or Wendy and we were on the streets of Burlington at the same time, trying to go to different places, our like rate, or maybe if we're even trying to go to the same place, they know like how much we're making, how often we use the app, how often we're trying to get to the place we're going, how urgent we might need to get there, and then adjust the price accordingly. We'll get different pricing based on the need that we have to like get there. Hotels. So I was in the State House, and again, the like lobbyists basically are coming in and doing a bunch of misinformation. It's often like Monique's bill is going to kill the economy, and all the businesses are going to leave, and Amazon's going to leave, and Facebook is going to leave, and everybody's going to hate it. Going to kill puppies and cats, yeah. And then I would basically like do these rebuttal documents. That's like, here's all the talking points you've heard. Here's all the counters to all the things. And so I had a friend proofreading one of those documents at one point, and at the end, and she goes to me, she's like, wait a second. So I have my family registered to stay in a hotel this weekend. It was really well priced, but there's no staff. So I had to give my driver's license to like register. So does that mean like, I'm thinking that probably means I'm going to show up and they're just going to have cameras scan my face and my kids' faces and my husband's face. But now I'm reading your stuff, and that means like I'm giving up their facial data without any protections in the state of Vermont. I'm like, yes. She's like, great, we're going to switch to Super 8. And she did. She came back on Monday and she's like, I switched to the hotel. That same person actually, thinking of the car data privacy, she was very proud of herself. She had just after that was buying a car in Vermont, and she knew that there was a data privacy policy and that she could ask for it. It's not something they ever tell anybody. It's like a box that you check. So she demanded to see the privacy policy so she could opt out of it. They went through like 3 stages of managers until they got to the owner of the dealership. And he came out and like was like, "Why do you need this privacy policy?" And she's like, "Because I'm going to opt out of it." And she did. It was fascinating, but it was a lot of hoops, and she wouldn't have known if she didn't read my red bottle documents, basically in the stay house. Loyalty shopping. So just I again, like out of all these people who are coming forward, like I have one of the like primary architects of Microsoft 365, and he has a restaurant in Jersey, and I was talking to him because he's developing like a new type of platform, and he knows exactly what's happening with data. And I was like, well, how do you manage your like custom, like how do you manage owning a restaurant in today's worlds when it's all about data? And he said, I have like Marriott, I have lots of loyalty programs come into my restaurant all the time offering me cash to sign up for agreements to share my customer data, but I won't do any of that because I know exactly what that means. So he does everything on paper, reservations, reviews, everything like that. We had an example of, so a parent gave AG permission to share a story, which was that a 16-year-old went into a gym franchise in Vermont, and he was asked for his social security number, his birth certificate, and any other like ID he had. His mom was like, he had told his mom, and his mom went in and was like, "Why do you need my son's information? This is nuts. Like, what are you doing with it?" And they're like, "Oh, we would just like store it, but like we just always have done it since it's paper and this is a franchise, and I don't know, they just told us to like do it. So I don't know why we do it." So I think they stopped after that, I hope. But just another example of like they're collecting super sensitive information. And I'm sure it was probably just going on a folder on the computer that could easily be hacked. I feel like the examples are getting like worse and worse every week that I do this. So at one point one week, we were in a town and there was like 5 articles one day that came out. One was, we had been joking about the fact that there's smart fridges, which scan the inside of your fridge to know what products you have and like, what the temperature is and that kind of stuff. But then all of a sudden, Samsung released fridges with advertising screens on the outside of the fridge. My friends and I were joking, like, how long will it be before the fridge starts holding your food hostage? Like your cholesterol was too high this week. Our doctor told you not to, like, you can't access cookies at 9 o'clock at night. Joking, but like maybe not joking. There's actually a really great video on the website. It's a broccoli. It's a parody basically, but it is actually terrifying. It's basically a pizza company giving this guy heck for trying to order pizza, and his doctor, had said the cholesterol is too high for pizza. But so the smart fridges, and then also connected to the fridges, thinking about the connection between your fridge information, your loyalty programs that you sign up for. So when you go in a grocery store, there's lots of cameras. Often it is for fraud, but it is also for marketing. Like it is, and probably not for little chains, but like the big chains for sure. So think about like you walking into a store, the biometric scan of who you are, and then also with your phone in your pocket, walking all around the store with also the data from things like your fridge or whatever other information there is that can then, with the digital pricing in certain places, that can actually adjust the pricing for who you are and how much you want that thing, which Kroger had gotten. There's some articles about it happening at Kroger. At that same day, there had been news articles coming out about Roomba and about how a guy hacked his own Roomba to see what kind of information it was sharing with the outside world. And it turned out it was transmitting his floor plans of his, like, it was already a thing that people talk about, like the Roombas doing floor scans for like whether or not you need a new couch and things like that. Like to a certain extent, it needs cameras to not bump into chairs and things. But what it's doing is taking scans of your house, your floor layout, the products in your house. Maybe you need a new couch or a table or something like that. And then that all goes into, again, your consumer credit report, which is then used for marketing. The most ridiculous thing that happened the other day, I don't know if anybody saw it, was smart toilets. And so somebody had gone after Kohler. So Kohler basically was like asked about the security on the encryption of what data they're sending from their smart toilets to the world. And they couldn't answer basic questions about security. And so everybody was making fun of Kohler on LinkedIn for the last weekend. If anybody wants to go on and look at a lot of horrifying slash crazy jokes about smart toilets and what data they're sharing. And then other things, two more, just so smart glasses. So I don't know if people have seen, I'm actually trying to train my brain to be more aware of when people are wearing the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, because I'm often in circles with even Meta's lobbyists. I hosted a karaoke party 2 weeks ago and had Meta's national guy there. He's wearing glasses, and you know, there's almost immediately there a couple weeks ago there was like a article about how somebody had hacked the glasses so they could turn off the notification light that shows on when it's recording. And there's been all kinds of articles about students basically hacking into the glasses to be able to just identify people as they're interacting with them, like in school quads and stuff like that. And then just the last one that I'm going to give for now is thinking about health websites. So to a certain extent, a lot of the kind of medical industry has come in to say they don't want to have to fall under this data privacy bill because they say they're already protecting people's data under HIPAA, which I'm going to poke holes on in a minute. But one of the conversations was, okay, so another person who's come out of the woodwork is who wrote the cookie policy for Google that's still in use. And he created software that tracks Google's cookies. He left Google and then created software to track Google. And so he's been working with me. He loaded all of Vermont's medical site data into his database so he can track all of the traffic that's coming and going from medical sites in Vermont. And so a number of medical, like hospitals and things, are using a system called CallRail, which has had issues because HIPAA protects information, medical information, when you're talking to a provider. That involves insurance, and it's the Health Information Portability Protection Act. It is just for the movement of data between providers and insurance companies. And so it doesn't cover my smart ring, my smart watch. It doesn't cover anything that, so CallRail is an AI assistance, basically like call system where you call in to make an appointment with your provider. None of that information between you and the AI system is technically protected medical information. So there's issues where CallRail is like leaking basically and or sharing that medical information that is collecting. And we have establishments in Vermont using that. At the same time, if you go on to any website to say like, look up cancer, because one of your family members says they have cancer and you're investigating it. If you're coming from Facebook or Google, any of those, you're having a trail of cookies of trackers that are following you everywhere, which is what this guy was basically like creating a map of. But that means like if I go and look up cancer, if I have cookies that are tracking where I'm going, there's potential that that information that I looked up cancer can be used against me to say, oh, maybe Monique has cancer. Maybe she's now a person who is at risk, who that could impact my employment, that could impact insurance, as we were talking with the car stuff. And so when I talked to the medical societies and stuff, I was like, I asked them, like, I want to know about how you're protecting people from their website traffic. And like, oh, we don't care about digital. Like, but this bill is digital protection for people. So anyways, that I'm going to pause. Does anybody have any questions about yeah. It's cool. That's okay. I'm learning all this stuff as I go. So no, I'm trying. Yeah. Yeah.
As simply as you can, how can a car or a vacuum cleaner transmit the data that you're talking about? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, so all of our cars and our robot vacuums and stuff like that are connected to the internet. And so it's going through the internet.
So there are
And-
microchips in there that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the thing with
Are they necessary? to be-
well, okay, so yes, so good question. So to a certain, so yes, like they are necessary because you need sensors to make sure your vacuum doesn't whack your chair over and over again. You need certain cameras in your car to make sure that you brake when you need to. Like I have one that's like, if I get too close to a car, it'll help me brake. That totally makes sense. It's a safety feature. What doesn't make sense and what we're trying to do with these bills is that one, people often don't know that information is being collected on them. They're not told what information is being collected. They're not told whether or not it's being shared. They're not given an option to say, I don't want my information shared. And then they're definitely often not told that it's being sold. And that it's being sold to entities that then that data is going to come back to have actual monetary impacts on their life. So that's the like, yes, it's like a necessary thing when it's like safety features. Like I said, in the supermarket, fraud cameras totally makes sense. There's a lot of issues with people like being flagged incorrectly, and then all of the marketing data. Yeah, does that help? I can go into more. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like, in the news, whenever I've seen centers in China, Taiwan, they're all over the place now. And now we know that, oh, for gosh, what's his name? Building all the AI. We have over 1,000 now throughout the United States. And there, to me, I just see these buildings, hundreds of miles square with rooms full of people collecting this data like I've seen them do in all these other countries.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it here, and we've gone into this Arnold Schwarzenegger future world where we're just obsolete. So what is going on?
Yeah.
What can we do?
Yeah, I mean, so I will go over what we can do. I'm gonna start on what's been done, just to give like a little bit of a so the first kind of like privacy act that was really established in the United States was in the 70s, the Privacy Act. At the time, it was supposed to be a consumer protection bill and a bill that covered government use of data. The consumer protection pieces were lobbied out. So people came in special interests came in to like get, Congress and stuff to not include the consumer protection piece of it. It's actually like, yeah, rabbit hole there, around the lobbying. But, and then you've got things like FERPA, which protects like student data. The thing about FERPA is it protects student data, certain student data, when it is a public institution that is receiving like public funds. It doesn't protect student information. It doesn't protect all student information, and it doesn't protect student information when it's like a private school. Like a private school could choose to protect the data, but legally, federally, it doesn't have to under FERPA. And just think about how many private schools we have in Vermont. Similarly, HIPAA, as I said, the portability is between an insurance company and a provider. Again, does protection of health data between the provider and the insurance company. But think about how many people are either uninsured or how many providers we have that don't take insurance, or things like smartwatches and rings, and all of the kind of things that are collecting our heart rate and our steps as we walk, like our phone. Now there's things tracking like sweat tracking, and things like that. We have COPPA, so protecting kids 13 and under in certain ways. And actually we passed the age appropriate design code in Vermont last year to protect social media, like data privacy for kids 18 and under. We have Graham-Leach-Bliley and Fair Credit Reporting Act. So those are largely financial and insurance transactions protections. And actually in Vermont, so the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau federally issued a report last year that was basically like, please states, there's a lot of loopholes, you should fill them. I had legislative counsel, our lawyers, do a deep dive on insurance and banking protections in Vermont. We actually have a lot of stuff that protects people. Actually feeling good about that. But then we have things like random, these are all like very specific industry piecemeal types of protections, like including there's other things like video rental protections. We actually have the right to sue on video rental history being shared, which is actually ending up in court a lot right now because it was, again, applying to like an analog version of taking out physical VHS tapes and things. And there's people going after things like Netflix, and they're claiming that streaming videos doesn't count. So that's another like digital version of an analog thing that's being fought right now. Then what happened is the state of California in 2018 passed the first comprehensive consumer data privacy bill protecting people, and a lot of the data that I'm talking about being shared between things, they try to get at that, and they keep changing their law to keep up. Industry basically freaked out as soon as that happened, and they introduced what they wanted as a privacy model, a counter model in Washington State. Washington State tried to pass it 3 times, and it wasn't strong enough, so Washington wouldn't let it pass. And so there was an employee of a big tech company that had been the one to introduce it. Basically, a lobbyist took it to Virginia, and they got that bill passed in Virginia, and then that got passed in Colorado, and basically there's a bunch of states right now that have a version that was what industry, big tech, wanted to be the model. And the goal of that, the reason for that wave and the reason for all the states, like they know states copy each other, they wanted to get enough states in the country to copy their version of a privacy protection bill to supersede the population of California. So then they could go to Congress and say, hey, the majority of Americans really favor this bill, not California's bill. So you should copy this bill. That was largely, so Maryland was the first one a couple years ago. At the same time we were trying to pass something in 2023, Maryland was trying to pass something as well, and they did. And it went into effect October 1st of this year. And so basically what is happening is in every state that is trying to pass a strong version closer to what Maryland does that closes the loopholes of the big tech bill. Vermont is one, Massachusetts, Maine, Washington is still trying. I don't even remember who else. New York, a bunch of us trying to pass. And in each of those states, a big tech version basically has been introduced. So Vermont has both the big tech friendly one and the stronger one. And so that's what we're like trying to do now. And when it comes to like your question of what can we do, and there in a lot of places, people are like, we're just Vermont, why are we bothering? And we can't affect everybody. But we can. Like the more I've dug into this, the more I see this. One, again, we copy all each other, and I'm on multiple different groups at this point where we're all talking to each other. So we're all sharing language, we're all sharing witnesses, we're all sharing the lobbying stories. We're all at that karaoke I said that I was with Meta. It's like Meta and Amazon's guy and everybody's guy, but it's also civil society. And then it's the guys going after big tech actually. And then it's all these legislators. And so I'm forcing that, forcing those rooms to happen. And so we're all talking. And as an example of a thing that you can see a state law affect everybody else. So Washington State passed the Washington My Health, My Data bill a couple years ago. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but all of a sudden, Amazon, Facebook, and a bunch of others, they came out with these press releases that were like, we care about your health data. We're going to take all these extra steps to protect it. And just because we're the best. It was when the Washington My Health, My Data bill went into effect with the right for a person to sue if their health data was misused. So it wasn't because it was the good out of their heart, it's because people now all of a sudden have the right to sue and get damages for that information. So just an example of like one state where it really is affecting, but again, like we're also all copying each other. Maine and Massachusetts, yeah. No, Maine, so just like Maine and Massachusetts in particular, like we're the 3 of us have been writing op-eds to support each other and letters to each other's state house is just saying like, please hold the line, and just sharing stories. And yeah, Kendall, go ahead.
How do you think about How do you imagine that kind of thing happening?
Yeah, I mean, they are scared of the private right of action, what's happening too. So again, like a lot of us are trying to like do this work, so the thing that's happening is like we're told you have to start somewhere. So there's the start some, but I don't agree with that. You start everything, you start somewhere, and then we're told to pass a bill that passed like, yeah, in 2019, that is now outdated because even biometric, the number of like health features you can, vein patterns and retina scans and sweat tracking and subvocal mics that are under your skin and in neural data in your brain. There's all this stuff. So I would say like there are a lot of states we have to like push actually, and this is where it goes into my closing thing of like we need help because there are states that are like in Vermont, we're actually really up to date. I'm literally working on this bill every single day. So we are updating things constantly. But then, and they are worried about the right to sue, like the ability for a person to sue, because then class actions can come together with a bunch of people that will hurt them, and that does change their behavior patterns. That's why they're fighting Vermont's bill super hard, because they know that if we pass it, other states will be able to justify, it'll set legal precedent for other states to like pass that. So I do think like we can have an impact, but I guess what I'll get into is like with any lobbyists across the country that I've talked to on any side, whether you're in Vermont, whether you're in New York, whether in California, it really can take as little as 3 to 5 people reaching out to their legislator to completely change the game on a bill. And so we set up an advocacy page on the website and basically steps of like how to sign up.
Website again?
What?
What's the
Oh yeah,
website again?
People versus BS, bigtech.com. And we have just BS. Yeah. So we have like VPIRG has action alerts, ACLU has action alerts. There's a bunch of other groups that have action alerts. I have like if you sign up on the website for this town hall series, you could just put in Burlington or something. I'm sending updates to everybody as we go of like call the governor at this time or show up to the state house if you can at this time. But also people have just shared like after these events have just sent me emails. I had a legal Irish immigrant who lives here in Vermont, who's been here for a long time. She's terrified. And so she shared some information about how her data has been used against her. That's really helpful. What we're just having is like, we're having basically the Googles, the Amazons, the Metas, they work through entities like our Chamber of Commerce and Tech Alliance and things like that, that then basically, and even their Google My Business, or think about the number of resources a small business uses to survive in 2025, and then basically they get messages through all these channels to just fight anything that comes up. And so one, we're trying to like get out to people so they can, small businesses and medium-sized business can know like that's actually not in their best interest. And I have an op-ed coming out soon to try to like highlight that more. But then also just so the average person can show up, because what happened is we had a really strong bill in 2024 and it passed unanimously through the House, unanimously through the Senate, and then it got vetoed by the governor. The House overrode the veto, the Senate failed to override the veto. And what it just came down to was really just lobbying. It's like who is in their ear. There's not enough people reaching out. And so that's what I'm doing, is just traveling all over the state trying to like, thank you for having me, because I'm just trying to get in front of as many people as possible. Like I said, normally this is 90 minutes. There's a little bit more time. But I will sit down and have coffee with people, have phone calls with people. I'll go into the like data broker, like all how it works if you want. Happy to have a deep dive rabbit hole lunch on that. Yeah, I saw your hand down.
Thank you. I'm remote. I have to carry on a conversation, but I wanted to share with this group, and some of you may know this, but after I ran for election in 24, I had my identity stolen through Facebook. I was put on as a Bitcoin broker, and they had me selling book game. And my professional background was in finance. It was the Facebook circle of hell. I just got out of it, and that's a reason maybe why I'm not your most apt counselor using Facebook for almost a year. The Bitcoin said, and finally, from somebody fairly high in state government. And I said, what can I do? And he pulled a contact and, you know, it wasn't a systematic, he pulled a professional contact for me. But he said, there's not much you can do. He pulled his contact. We got it fixed after, 10 months of Facebook help. And there I am with nothing. I can't fix it. And it was just horrendous. So this is re-motivating me to think we got to figure out a way to fix it.
Think we're at time. So yeah, but definitely please reach out. And again, thank you so much for having me. And I'm sorry for the lack of information that I could give you. You probably have lots of questions, but.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monique. And People versus Big Tech for more information and for engaging with all that information, because wow. And thank you, CCTV, for recording this. So if you want to rewatch it, it will be available. Yeah, wow. So we're going to move on to our last agenda point of the evening, which is one of our steering committee members just coming up here, Amy, to talk about our suggestions and feedback and sort of this new system that we're putting into place for our meetings, to just engage a little bit more with everybody who's been here and shows up every month or some months or first time. So take it away.
Thank you. It's really hard to follow that. Like, I want to hear more. Thank you so much. Safe travels back to Bradford. So as I mentioned earlier, around on the table is both a list of things that suggestions folks made back in October, and there's an option to add more things now. That there's some really cool ideas on these lists. I don't know if folks have a chance to look at that. But this is your NPA. And so what happens in the steering committee is we get lots of, well, sometimes we don't have any suggestions about what to do at a meeting. So we make something up or we call people, and sometimes we have tons and tons and tons of ideas. But this is your NPA. So if you have suggestions and ideas, please write them down on these stickies, put them up on the board. You can reach out to any of us if you want to do that. And in January, February, we're going to be trying to make some more decisions together about things we want to do. City Council's been really invested in wanting to know more about NPAs and what our ideas are. And so it's possible that our community, we could have certain issues that come up that we really want to make sure City Council hears about and they want to hear, right? So we'll be talking more about that as we go along. So right now, does anyone have any suggestions right now that haven't been written down, or questions about how we create the agenda, or any ideas that have come to you? Excellent. So Mark just said we should do one on See-Click Fix, which is that app where you can talk about lights being out. Absolutely. Thanks.
So I took what Sarah said to be true, and I've already posted on See-Click Fix about the lack of lighting on 127.
Excellent. See, it's fast.
You can download an app to your iPhone or your Google phone, and it's took 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Big tech working for the people.
I had talked to the person that runs like the technical side of See-Click Fix. The idea of actually doing a campaign of like walking a neighborhood and taking, because like there's a lot of things just people just report if they have an immediate concern, but like an actual like problem report. See-Click Fix has like a response time. That's like they have to respond with a certain time, one way or another. But doing something that's not necessarily like doesn't require that response time for them to actually like catalog stuff that's wrong. They won't otherwise even know it's there. It's an option, so it's something that would be fun to do with something.
Thank you. Other thoughts, ideas, questions? Really cool topics?
Burlington actually has 7 international sister cities. And I don't think the general population knows much about those different partnerships and international relationships and the value of citizen diplomacy. So it might be interesting to have some of those delegations present the work they're doing and how they're trying to connect the city of Burlington to Senegal, Bethlehem, all kinds of countries, Japan, etc.
You just write a quick sticky on that? Thank you. Other ideas? All right, what about food ideas? Steve's open to anything. Oh, wait, we've got some suggestions.
The deer population. Just wondering, you know, I'll have 5 or 6 just feed. It seems like we can't shoot in the city of Burlington, but maybe there could be is that called culling of the herd or?
We just write a quick sticky on that. Monica, did you have a food idea?
Well, I think our food people are awesome, Jane and Steve. But I guess I'm wondering, because I know sometimes we will have some restaurants like Delight. Back when I was on the steering committee, we had the place that's at the north end of North Ave where Plattsburgh comes in. But I know at one point there was like a hiccup because it sounds like the restaurant has to front the food and wait a month for the city to reimburse them. Is that true? Okay, because I'd like to see Pingala here, but if they have to, okay.
That is a barrier that I'm not doing anything about right now. Other suggestions, other ideas, or people do want to leave? Yeah, Evan.
Sorry, I'm in the back because I was sitting in an office chair all day today, and then I went to Costco, so it was tense. I used to be on the NPA steering committee forever ago, and one of the things I really liked, and maybe things change all the time, was hearing from the different representatives and being able to ask them questions. But what I didn't like was how much the city was taking up of the agenda. It was just so many city items and roadshow. One of the things I've been thinking about is I would love to maybe do more where the city councilors from the New North End get an opportunity to be on the agenda more frequently, but also not take up a lot of space. And so one of the ideas I had, obviously need to discuss with colleagues, which I did not mention this to them yet, would be to maybe like rotate the way the school board used to do. I don't know if they still do that, but they used to send kind of one of the New North End school board members each month so that it wasn't overwhelming to the school board members, but it also wasn't overwhelming to the agenda. And so maybe one of us could answer questions, talk about what's going on at the city council level, if it's helpful. So I feel I'm here for you and to answer questions or take feedback, but I don't have that opportunity really to do that in the NPA setting, and the city council setting is so formal. So that's just an idea to think about.
It's really helpful. We've actually been talking about that balance, right? Of all we have 90 minutes a month to talk about things, and so how do we figure that out? That's a great idea, though. Anything else?
Well, I just want to chime in. If anybody has other people that they would like to come present, there is a request form for presenting at the NPAs, which can be found on the city website. Go to the NPAs, and then there's a request form spot. And if you can't find it, you can email us, which there's our email at the end of the agenda.
Whenever I have to communicate with somebody about the request to present form, I can never remember how to find it. So I literally just, big tech, I Google NPA request form Burlington and it pulls it up, and I don't have to navigate the city website. So you too can do that.
Yeah. Any other final words? Thank you so much, Amy. for like organizing all this feedback and like creating such an intentional space for that, because like you said, this is all of our NPAs together. So appreciate it so much and great to have you on the steering committee. And yeah, with that, we can make a motion to adjourn. Seconded. All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in about a month and a half. Yes, fourth Wednesday of the month in January, January 28th.